All right, if you're a creator, I need you to listen up. Everything you thought you knew about growth is pretty much wrong. That polished, predictable playbook that's worked for years, yeah, it's officially dead. So let's dive into this because what we're about to cover is the new rulebook for not just surviving, but actually dominating in 2026.
And this quote, it just gets right to the heart of the problem. You've seen this happen, right? You've got two creators in the exact same niche posting just as often. One is totally stuck and the other one is just exploding. The difference isn't luck, it's strategy, it's style, and it's a completely new definition of what quality even means. So how do you become the creator that's exploding? That's what we're going to solve today.
So first things first, let's talk about why the old rules just don't work anymore. For years, the mantra was so simple: just be consistent, right? Post every day, stay in your niche, and the algorithm will eventually reward you. Well, that's just not reality anymore. The entire game has changed from the ground up.
We used to treat our social feeds kind of like a perfect polished shop window. You know, everything carefully curated and looking just right. But the feed in 2026, it's a chaotic street market. It's loud, it's messy, it's super competitive. And if you show up sounding like some polished corporate broadcast, you're going to be completely and totally ignored.
This brings us to probably the single biggest shift we've seen online: chaos culture. And look, don't make the mistake of thinking this is just some trend for teenagers. This is the new default language for earning attention on the internet, and understanding it is absolutely non-negotiable. So what is it really? Well, our source from Immediate Future defines it as this mix of high-impact, unpolished content that is just built to be shared. It's not about being weird just for the sake of being weird. And here's the key: that low-polish part isn't lazy. It's a feature, not a bug. It feels more authentic, more human, and it's all designed to make people feel like they're in on the joke. It signals that they belong.
So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, we're talking about those surreal edits that make you do a double take. It's about using imperfection, messy captions, a shaky camera, as a deliberate way to build trust. It's about creating a whole world with recurring characters and inside jokes, and even making posts specifically designed to get a story going in the comments.
And let me be perfectly clear here. It is so tempting to dismiss all of this as just, oh, that's what the kids are doing. But it's not. This chaotic, entertainment-first approach is bleeding into the mainstream for one very simple reason: it works. It's how you cut through the noise and get people to actually share your stuff. And shares are the currency of reach today.
Okay, so if chaos culture is the new language, what's the format? What are we supposed to make? That brings us to the microdrama, the content structure that is literally built for this new world. A microdrama isn't just another short clip. As Digiday defines it, this is serialized storytelling. Think of it like a miniature TV show shot for your phone. And the key difference is you're swapping out that cheap, quick dopamine hit of a viral dance for actual narrative tension, compelling characters, and cliffhangers that pull you right into the next episode.
Now, what's so fascinating here is who's actually watching. You'd expect this to be dominated by the youngest audience, right? But just look at this data for the US and Canada. Viewership is almost evenly split between 16 to 24s, 25 to 34s, and even 35 to 44-year-olds. This is not a niche format. This has broad mainstream appeal.
And hey, if the audience data doesn't convince you, maybe the money will. Deloitte projects that this format is going to generate nearly $8 billion in revenue by 2026. This is not some quirky little trend. It's a massive emerging media channel that creators and brands are pouring real money into.
So you have the culture and you have the format, but how do you actually make it work? That brings us to the editing. This is where the magic really happens, and frankly, it's where most creators are falling way behind. So let's break down the mechanics.
Think of this as your practical, data-backed guide. First up, pattern interrupts. These are just quick visual or sound changes that kind of reset a viewer's attention. And get this, the research shows this can boost watch time by a massive 20 to 35%. Next, you got to optimize your jump cuts to keep the energy high without being disorienting. And finally, strategic B-roll. You literally analyze your drop-off points, and then you add engaging visuals right there. That can lift retention by up to 25%. These are surgical, high-impact moves.
And you know what? None of that matters if you don't nail the hook. You have 1.5 seconds. That is it. You have to meticulously engineer that hook to be absolutely irresistible. You have to use smart text overlays because, let's be real, 85% of people are watching with the sound off. And finally, you have to engineer a perfect loop, a seamless transition from the end back to the beginning that encourages rewatching, because the algorithm sees that as a massive signal of quality.
Okay, finally, let's talk about the most important piece of this entire puzzle. The one thing that actually makes all of this sustainable. You can master chaos culture, you can master microdramas and editing, but without this, you're just building on sand. Let's talk about building your moat.
This quote from Payani Media is such a massive wake-up call. Every single follower you have on any social platform, you don't own that relationship. You're just renting access from an algorithm that can change the rules on you overnight. Relying on that isn't just a risk anymore. It's a critical liability to your entire creative business.
This slide really shows the fundamental shift in mindset you need to have. The old way was all about chasing algorithms for a borrowed following. The 2026 way is about building a direct relationship with a true community. That community becomes a defensible asset, something that's immune to platform volatility. It's also how you generate what's called zero-party data. Info your audience willingly gives you, like their email address. That's data you own, and it is incredibly valuable.
So the real takeaway here is this. A highly engaged, niche community is your ultimate defense. It's an economic moat. An algorithm can change, a new AI tool can emerge, but a real, thriving community that trusts you and shares your values, that cannot be easily replicated or taken away. It is your single most valuable asset.
And that's the question I really want to leave you with. As the digital world gets more and more chaotic, more automated, more competitive, everything else starts to feel temporary. Your content style will evolve, platforms will rise and fall, but your community, that might just be the only thing that truly lasts. So what are you building?